All right, so got the third one in. Spare gears are good. Differential feels good there. I don't know what we're gonna find. But anyways, I'm just gonna tear this one down and use the parts that I need that are still good from this to complete this. It's really interesting at how close Sports Works and Losi are, because if I remember correctly, I think Horizon Hobby was either going to go with Sportworks or Losi, and they chose Losi. And even the bodies look similar. The way things are labeled and the decals. And this Dynamite engine looks very similar. Anyways, we're going to go ahead and break this down, see what parts are broken, see what parts we're going to need for this. Just a little overview of what it looks like before. So it's pretty dirty. I'm glad it has this battery holder. I'm going to pull the differentials and the transmission. We'll see. Looking for crack. It's a quarter. Just figured I'd show what I'm using for tools. the rear end was absolutely filthy, so I had to disassemble the entire thing to get the diff out. So that's that. Set this aside. Now I'm gonna get the transmission out. It's just really well used. Broke it down a little more just because. See how really dirty it is. Yeah, this was just stuck on there because of all the gunk, so I couldn't pull it right out. I'm actually just going to finish tearing down the rest of this and then put it in a box to be brought to clean, and then just work on these parts here. This thing was filthy. That's not supposed to be like that. I'm assuming this incident, the camera doesn't show how really bent that is, but I'm assuming those had something to do with each other. So yeah. Alright, got a bunch of stuff done on this yesterday, or late last night. Got all the servos hooked up. Steering, and can't get a good angle, but it's all there. I'll show you guys in a bit. But yeah, I just had to Dremel some of the exhaust manifold so it would fit over the gasket. The new gasket I had was super thick, so I just Dremeled a little bit of that out. So now I want to tear apart these differentials, see which one's good or in better condition, and I'll put that in the front. And then go ahead and close up the front end, and when I do that, I'll put the shocks on it. Once I get the shocks on, I can put some wheels on, and I'll have a roller. So these are the original drive shafts that came with this truck. I have the shaft, I just don't have the pivot portion of the assembly. So I'm gonna have to, actually I don't have the drive shaft. I'm missing the shaft and the pivot portion. So off the newest one I just got, it has all the drive shafts. So I'll just go ahead and take one from one of these. I got all the parts cleaned for this other one. They were really, really dirty. The amount of sludge at the bottom of the bucket I had them soaking in was like, it was very thick. It was just gross. So, but yeah, all this is clean. Not even like fully clean, but night and day difference. So I've got plenty of parts to source to finish this one. I actually just took the 2-speed portion right off the transmission of the new one. The old one was a little janky. I like the way this plastic piece is compared to this setup with the clip. I'm gonna go ahead and run that. Yeah, so that's where this stands. Those don't look bad. There's plenty of life on these teeth. So both diffs are good. This was the rear, so I'm gonna go ahead and use the one that was on the front for the front on here. So I'm gonna go ahead and get these cleaned up, slap this differential in the front, put the rest of this front end together with a couple of drive shafts. Then I got to sort the rear. Just get a new one from here. One thing I do like is that they did the silver and the gray, or silver and black, to indicate the left and right side, so that way the threads on the axle won't allow for the bolt to, or the nut to back off. So that's pretty smart on their behalf. Yeah, doing some research, you know, as I was trying to source parts and find out, you know, the assembly of this vehicle, I learned a lot, and learned, you know, just how awesome this truck is, and why it, you know, is so desirable. So yeah, go ahead and get this stuff done. Got the diffs all cleaned up. Night and day difference. Gonna put this one on the front. Now all that's left is to mount the shocks and put the wheels on, and then it's a roller. I say that just because it's not running yet. Very nice looking though. Again, I like what they did with the silver axle and the black axle. Got all the wiring worked up. Just gotta hook up a battery. I've decided, actually, because I have an older generation and a newer generation, the newer ones have the place to mount that newer gear cover. But after looking at this clutch bell and seeing that it's been chewed up, I've decided to not put the cover on, because I'm assuming that some gunk got caught in the cover, and that's what ate up the last spare gears and chewed up this clutch bell. So I'm just going to leave this open. I see a lot of people running them open anyway. Most trucks have an open setup anyways. Usually the 2-speed is on the inside of the transmission. That's another thing I've noticed, but anywho, that's where this stands. I'm almost done. After I get this all together, I'll go over everything I have for it and close up this project.
These shocks are humongous. I failed to realize how much oil they actually will need to fill them. I'll be surprised if I have enough, honestly. I may have enough first shocks. You know what, I feel bad wasting it, but... I think I really didn't even need to do this. The first shock I did didn't have as much oil in the second shock. But I feel better knowing that there's fresh oil in them all around. I don't know what I'm going to do for this other set, because I'm not sure if I have enough 60 for 2 more shocks. That feels so good. These shocks are humongous. I have pretty big hands. That's huge. It's bigger than the bottle. going to refill these just for the sake of lack of oil. I don't want to run out for anything else I have to build too. I have to pick up some more in the meantime.
These parts were so dirty. I didn't clean the arms, and I didn't clean this box. Everything else was washed. This is all from that last one. It was tired and dirty, but I was able to source some parts for it. Or from it, I mean. And this is what I've got so far. I'm pretty satisfied with this. It's gonna need to be like completely tuned and stuff, but it's built. And that's the part that I like. I know exactly where things stand with this project, so I've reached a point where I can at least put it away and not wonder where things stand. It's got reverse, dual steering, and I was gonna do rear steer, but after trying to mount a servo in there, things just didn't line up the way I wanted to without having to do major reconstruction, so I just decided to scrap that idea. And anyways, it would just be another weak point and something to go wrong. So, but yeah, this truck is ready to be tuned. Tuned as in like linkages still need to be set up. Still got to make sure the electronics work. Make sure the gear mesh is right. I mean, that feels okay to me. I might even switch the clutch bells just because this one's clean and this one's kind of raggedy. I was going to run the gear covers, but I'm assuming that they trapped some debris in here, and that's why the last set got chewed up, as well as this clutch bell. But anyways, again, it's ready to be tuned, so you gotta figure all that stuff out. I am gonna run these wheels, the Terra Crusher tires on the Maximizer offset beadlocks. They're really heavy tires, but this truck can handle them. I haven't really, found anything I can comfortably run this set of wheels on, but I think this is the truck. I refilled the front shocks, 60 weight Traxxas oil. I left the rear shocks exactly how they were. Feel really good still though. So yeah, that's one built. I'm just gonna keep one. I've got parts if anything breaks. And I've got this transmission. I'm gonna go ahead and clean these, tear this down and clean it, tear this down and clean it, and put it before I put the rest of the parts away. So yeah, that's good. Another major project overhaul done. Can't wait to use it. Yeah, you see that. Something's got to be sorted in there. But it looks really good. If I can find another body for a decent price, I'll go for it, but I'll run this for now. Looks good enough. And if you look at the Sportworks stuff from the early 2000s, it looks very similar to Losi. I think, if I remember correctly, Horizon Hobby was going to either use Sportworks or Team Losi, and they went with Losi. But yeah, these are the parts that were broken. Diff cover. This chassis brace. The spare gears. A couple bent screws. Some bent parts. I decided to keep this just because I can straighten that back out if I need it, whatever. Actually, I'll throw that away. Look, it's cracked. So, yeah, some of the shocks, but I'll keep the bodies and the caps, you know, be able to use those. One of the springs is bent a little bit too. And then this is the parts from the other one. I bought a couple tanks actually as well, but they're a little bit cracked. This one actually came on that truck and has some cracks in the top of it, but I'm gonna plastic weld it later in time. And this one's cracked right here, but we'll see. It's got some glue on it. The previous owner glued it. So yeah. Losi LST Nitro overview complete. So I'll come back to this vehicle later in time once I start to get a few more projects like this out the way and sell some stuff. Come back and use the ones I want to keep. And get this thing working, show you guys my experience with what it's like. Get this stuff boxed up. Anyways, thanks.